Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my reversible octopus tutorial. So if you followed part 1, you should now have your 2 pieces, which I have right here. So what we're going to do first is start off by putting on the face. Okay, so for the face, I'm going to start off with this pink one right here. So you can definitely, customize it to however you want, but I'm going to do mine really simple. So I'm going to take some 14mm safety eyes. If you want yours bigger or smaller, feel free to change it up, but I'm going to take my 14mm, which is right here. And then also you want to, actually let me just insert this first, but this is what the 14mm looks like. I think I might go bigger, we'll see after I insert this. And just place it wherever you want. I like to space mine kind of far. Okay, so I actually just put it a tiny bit higher, but this is what mine looks like. Does it look crooked? Okay, so also I wanted to mention, if you don't want to do the safety eyes, you can use felt, but I didn't feel like cutting everything out, so that's why I'm going the simple route by using these eyes. And I know it has this backing right here, but I do insert some stuffing in the inside, so I feel like, well, when I turn my other one, let me bring it out. This is the one that I made as a practice, and I don't feel anything on the inside. It doesn't really poke out at me because I did add stuffing in there, but if it bothers you that, there is going to be this backing right here, you can go ahead and use felt instead, but if you just stuff it a bit more, I think you'll be fine, but I just wanted to mention that just in case. Now I'm just going to insert the backing. So here is the little thing you're supposed to push into the back of the eyes. Also, I'm filming this a week later after part 1, so that's why my nails are messed up. I didn't have time to fix it, but I'm just going to insert that in there. And then now I'm going to add the mouth in a bit, but I'm actually going to take my yellow one, and I think for this one I'll do 12mm safety eyes. So these are the size of the 12. I'll show you the comparison. So this is 14 and then this is 12. So yeah, I'm gonna take my 12s and put this one on. Okay, so now I did insert the backings already, but now I'm going to add the face. So for this yellow one, I think I want him to smile. Originally, I wanted it on the pink one to have a smile on his face, but then I felt like it makes more sense to do it on the yellow. So I'm going to take my black yarn. Now, when I first did the mouth, let me show you my other one. So this is the first octopus that I made that I didn't really like, and you can see this mouth is horrible. I did use threading, sorry, I meant embroidery thread, and it was like, I felt like it was really thin. So this time I'm going to be using some black yarn because it is a little bit thicker, and I feel like it will look probably better because, this is bigger. But yeah, so I'm going to take my black yarn and my yarn needle and just insert that through. And then I'm just going to create a smile. So I'm going to go in from, let's see, let's start on this side. You'll see where I poke it through. Should I go higher? I'm gonna put it right here. So I'm just going to poke the needle through, just pull my yarn, and then I'm gonna go directly to the other side of the face, so probably like right here or right here. Yeah, I'm gonna go that way, and then I'm going to push down into the face, but I'm not going to pull all the way through. I'm gonna hold on to this yarn right here and don't pull all the way through. Oh, I made it crooked. I need to go up one. This black yarn I have is horrible. It's like spreading everywhere. But yeah, so I kind of made it too low. So I'm going to go back into this one, and now I'll push back in. And you can see my thumb right here. I'm holding this yarn because I'm not going to pull that all the way through. Just going to hold on it. Pull this yarn out. And then now when I go back in, you want to find where you want your mouth to end at the bottom here. So how big do you want the smile? I want mine to go like this, so you can see where the bottom of the mouth is. You want to go into the stitch that's like right above it, so you can see here's the bottom of the mouth, this is the stitch right above it. So from the inside, you're just going to poke through, find the stitch, so you see the stitch right above the mouth, just enter it through, push it up, take your yarn out, and then now the stitch below it, you just want to go in and and push the yarn back in. And there is the mouth. You can just adjust it. Yeah, and you can keep going over if you want it to be a little bit thicker, but I think I'm good with just this one. So I'm going to now take my scissors, cut this yarn, and then I will tie these two pieces on the inside. And then I also need to take a lint roller and take off all the black fuzz that went onto the face. So let me just go ahead and tie this. I tie about 2 or 3 knots. You can do however many you want, but I'll go ahead and finish this off camera and then I'll be right back. Okay, so this is what the mouth looks like after I tied the inside. So if you want to add a little bit more, we can take some pink yarn and a threading needle. We're just going to create some blush. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I'm just going to add a little bit extra to this guy. So what I'm going to go and do is take the yarn and insert it right about here into these 2 stitches. And I'm just going to go from the inside and poke through my pink yarn, pull it through, and then you can determine how long you want the blush to go. So like, how far do you want it out? Do you want it here? Do you want it like really small? I think I should do up to about here. So I said 1 stitch, but I'm actually going to go into this one. So this is 1, 2, into my 3rd. And then when I poke through, you can just poke straight through into the inside of this and do it only once. But if you want it thicker, what you can do is, so take your needle, go through here, and then push back out through the front into where you originally started. And see, you have this one pink blush right there, but if you want to go over it a couple more times, you just do the same thing, but I'm only going to do it twice. So this time I'm just going to take my needle and poke it through this stitch and just go straight into the inside and pull out. And that's what the blush looks like. So now I can just tie the 2 pieces on the inside. And then I'm going to repeat to the other side. Now, because it's the same step, I'm just going to do that part off camera because I still need to show you guys how to make the tentacles, and that might take a little bit long. So I'll go ahead and finish this off camera and then I'll be right back. Alright, so that's what it looks like once I add the blush. It kind of looks like it's a football player, but I think that looks good for now. So let's get our other face. So here is the pink one, and for this one I'm just going to make it a sad face. If you want to make it the angry one, you can go ahead and do that, but I want to do the sad face for this guy. So let me take my black yarn once again and my threading needle, and I'm basically doing the same thing, but I'm going to make it, you know, an upside down U. So let me go ahead and insert this through. All right, this is like my 4th time trying to make the frown, which I'm having trouble with, but what I'm going to do is basically the same thing as the smile right here and just do it reverse. I tried to do it a different way, but it didn't look cute. So what I'm going to do is the same thing, but I'm going to start lower at the face. So what I'm going to do is go from this side, poke it through, and then I'm going to go straight across to the other side of the face. You want to determine how big you want the mouth to be. Let me go into this one and see what it looks like. If it doesn't look cute, I'll take it out. It looks kind of small, but let's see. Okay, this mouth is small, but I'm just going to leave it as is because I'm tired of refilming this. So what I'm going to do is determine where do I want this frown to go. I think like right about here. So what I'm going to do is take my needle from the inside and poke it through to the top, pull it through the top, and then from the top part you're just going to go into the same stitch, but you know, from this side, so you can kind of make it secure. So you're just going to go ahead and poke through, and that is the little frown. It's really hard to do the mouth, so don't worry if it takes a couple tries. I tried like 4 times. Okay, so you can see it kind of looks like a V, and I kind of want to change the shape just a little bit. So I'm going to go into this stitch right next to it on both sides, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to go into this stitch, and then I'm going to grab that yarn, make sure I'm under it, pull it through, and then do the same thing, go back into the stitch from the top and pull it through. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. Well, let me just check it out really quick. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. You can kind of see that it's a little bit too thin right there. So what I'm going to do is just take my yarn and go into wherever it's too thin. You don't have to do this if yours isn't thin, but I'm just going to poke that through. You can see I just went through. Then I'm going to push in through a stitch that's close by because I just kind of want to make it a little bit thicker at the top. Alright, to be honest with you, I think that's as good as it's going to get. Of course, you can go ahead and make yours as pretty as you want, but I think I'm struggling a little bit too much today, so I'm just going to go ahead and tie the inside. If you want, you can use felt for the mouth, but I just didn't want to do that here. I don't know why the top part of this looks so, or I mean the frown is much harder to do for me, but yeah, that was struggles because the smile one, I think that wasn't too bad. I think it looked kind of cute though. But now, okay guys, I'm adding this in last minute. Well, I mean, you're not going to see it as last minute, but I'm filming the intro later, so that's why I'm saying this is last minute. But anyways, because this was a struggle, I'm going to add a little teardrop because I'm kind of sad. So I think it looks cuter this way, right? Adding a little bit extraness to it. You can do more than one drop if you want, but I'm going to only do one because I felt like it kind of looked weird with two. So I'm just now going to take my hot glue gun. I think this is heated. Oh yeah, it's heated. Oops, but too much. Okay, so let me just glue this on. There's my little teardrop. Oh, that looks so cute. Sorry, I thought I cut out another piece, but I only cut out one. But I think I threw my other one away. So anyways, that's what it looks like with a teardrop. Okay guys, so now that I have the two faces, what I'm going to do next is, remember my yellow one was a smaller one. So what I have to do is, before I insert this, I have to make sure that I turn it the outside has to be like this, because when you sew it, it needs to go in this way. You can place it wherever you want, but just push it inside. We're not going to sew it yet, I'm just going to place it in. So you can adjust it to however you want, but the reason you have to do it this way is because, you know, of course, when you flip it, you have to make sure the face is there. But you can go ahead and now insert some stuffing. You don't have to do it yet, but because we still need to do the tentacles. But I do want to show you how I'm going to stuff it, just so I can get it out of the way right now. I'm getting my stuffing, and I'm actually going to take this out really quick. So you don't have to put stuffing at the top if you don't want, but I do want mine to be fluffy at the top right here. You can just insert it on the sides if you want, but just put some stuffing in there, however much you want, but you have to make sure the other face is going to fit. So I kind of just make a little bit of a gap right there, and then I'm going to insert this yellow one, and then this is what it currently looks like. And then what I'd like to do next is take some more stuffing and insert it into the sides. You can put however much you want, but the more you stuff it, the harder it will be to like turn it, like to flip it inside out. So just go around, insert however much stuffing you want, and kind of make it flat. Then going on to this side, and then you have to just adjust it as you go to make sure it's nice and even. Okay, so I feel like mine is nice and plush, but if I want to add more, I'm going to add it later, because now we have to work on the tentacles. But I just want to show you, this is what it looks like on the inside, and here's what it looks like on the outside. I don't know which side of the face I like better, but I made the pink one bigger because I felt like I was going to keep this face out most of the time. But now I think I might like the yellow one more, and I did make that one smaller, but that doesn't really matter too much. So now let's go on to the tentacles. All right, let's move on to the tentacles. You will need 8 of these, and I have pre-made 1. So this is how small mine is. You don't have to make yours the same size as mine. It can be any size you want, but I made mine smaller because I'm going to show you the one I already showed you like so many times already. But you can see this guy right here, he's super long, and I think he looks fine this way, but I felt like it would probably look better if I made it shorter. So I kind of did half of the size, or like a little bit longer than half of the size, because I felt like it kind of looks like too much like Cheetah Puffs and it was way too long. So Here's the other one, which I already showed you already as well. This guy his tentacles were shorter because he's smaller than this one, but I do like the look of this one, and I haven't made this third one I'm showing you right now. I haven't made it yet, but I feel like this third one is going to look better with shorter tentacles because I think it's just going to be easier when he like flips and stuff, like when you flip it inside or out. But of course, do whatever you want. I'll show you him flipped out really quick. This other one I made. I didn't finish the face on this guy. So yeah, that's what it looks like on the gray side, and you can see how the tentacles will look. So you can see I did do a single crochet to close up the sides. So that's what it will look like. So now let's get on to the crocheting. Okay, so for the tentacles, you will need a 5mm crochet hook. So this is the biggest hook we used, and you're going to be using this hook for both of the colors, so you don't need to alternate between the sizes. What you want to do is take the color that's the smallest. So this is the yellow, and remember I used a 3.5mm crochet hook. You want to take that color and start off with that one first. And what we're going to do is start off with a chain. So a chain is starting off with a slip knot. So what I like to do is take my yarn and hold it in half like this. Then I'll twist it at the bottom. And now I have this loop on this hand. So what I'm going to do is just go in and grab the yarn and pull it through that loop. Now I'll take my crochet hook, insert it into the loop, and pull down. Next, you're going to chain 7. So take your yarn and yarn over your hook and pull through. That was a chain of 1, yarn over, pull through for 2, yarn over, pull through for 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, splitting. Here is 6 and 7. Now we're just going to single crochet back into the chain, and you're going to single crochet 6 times because you will be skipping that you will be skipping this first chain and you're going into the second one. So you skip this one and you go into this guy right here. So just go into that stitch and do your single crochet. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, what you have to do is chain 1 at the end. So every time you reach the end, sorry, there's like so much black yarn, or the fuzzies from the black yarn. So now every time you reach the end, you have to chain 1. So yarn over and pull through, and then turn your work. And that chain counts as a stitch. So that was 1. I'm turning my work, and then I'm going to single crochet back into this. So what you're going to do is skip that corner stitch right here, because remember we counted this chain as a stitch. So that was 1, and then now you're going into this next stitch. Oops, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and your last one here is 6. Okay, so you basically have to repeat that step all the way through, and I'm going to do 10 rows of these. If you want yours longer, you can do yours longer, but I'm only going to do 10, and I'll demonstrate once more. So when you get to the end, you always want to chain 1, so yarn over and pull through, and then you turn your work. And remember that chain counts as a stitch. That was 1. Then you go into your second stitch, because remember you don't go into this corner one, you go into the next one, because that chain counted as a stitch. That was 1. This one right here is 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have to single crochet into your chain because remember they counted as stitches. So this is 6. Now I'm going to repeat that again just so I can demonstrate it for you, but you're going to keep repeating that until however long you want yours. Remember I mentioned I'm going to do 10 more of that row. So I just did 1. So now this one is my second. So I'm going to chain 1, turn my work. I'm going to single crochet into the second stitch. So remember that chain counted as a stitch, so that was 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have to single crochet into that chain because remember they count as stitches, so that was 6. Now just keep repeating this until you get to the length you want. So I'll finish this off camera and then I'll be right back. So I just finished the length of my tentacle and this is what it looks like. And now I'm at this corner right here, and what I want to do is create a border around this because I want it to have a nice edge. So to do that, what I'm going to do is single crochet these sides right here. And when you do that, if you did the same number I did, I'm going to be single crocheting 7 along this side, 6 at the top, 7 along the side again, and then 6 at the bottom. So if you made anything longer, that's fine. All you have to do is make sure there's 6 at the top and 6 at the bottom. And for the sides, you're just going to single crochet however many you need to get back to the top, and just make sure it's even on each side. Well, not an even number, just make sure you have the same number on each side. So what I'm going to do is just start single crocheting the sides. And that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, here is 6, and 7. So you can see that's what it looks like when you single crochet 7 along the side of this. And then once I get to the top, I want to single crochet 6. So I'm going to go into the stitch right here. Oops. So let's go in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then remember, since I did 7 here, I have to do 7 on this side. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, and 7. Once you get to the bottom, you can see I kind of didn't make it all the way to the top, but that's fine. I'm going to go into that corner stitch still and count that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is the 6. And you're basically just going around to create an edge because we will be single crocheting it with the pink. Well, we're going to use the pink yarn to single crochet it, or whatever color you have. But after you do that, take your yarn, you can cut it, and then you see this loop here. What you're going to do is just take that yarn, put it through the loop, and there you have one side of the tentacle. So what you can do now is just create all of your yellow pieces, but because I need to finish doing the video, I'm actually going to go straight to the pink one. But for your time, I think you should just do all of the yellow first, and then you can move on to your second color. Okay, so for the second color, which is my pink here, I'm going to basically do the same exact steps as that yellow, but the only difference is I'm not going to cut it off just yet, like at the end where I showed you right there where you cut it off. I'm not going to cut that off because I'm going to use the pink one to sew this up together, or single crochet it closed. So I'm going to show you this a little bit faster since I already showed you with the yellow yarn, but what you're going to do is start off with your slip knot so we can create a chain. So what I like to do is hold it in half, twist, oops, hold it in half, twist, there's the loop here. You're going to go ahead, grab that yarn, pull it through. Now you have this loop, take your crochet hook, insert it into the loop, and just pull on the yarn. Then you're going to create a chain of 7. So yarn over your hook, pull through, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then for row 2, you're going to single crochet back into the chain. You skip that first one that's closest to the hook. You go into the second one, and you're just going to do your single crochets. It should be a total of 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once you make it to the end, you chain 1, turn your work. You single crochet, but you don't go into the corner one, you go into the second stitch. Remember that chain counts as a stitch. That was 1. This one is 2, 3, 4, 5, and this last one is 6. Now that row I just showed you, I'm going to repeat that 10 more times until I get to the length to match up with this yellow. Okay, so once you get your length, remember you have to single crochet the sides or the border because you want it to have a nice edge. So remember for mine I did a 7, 6, 7, 6. So let's just go ahead and do your single crochets. That was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so then once you get to the top, you have to do your single crochets of 6. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you should have 6 at the top and bottom because you did a chain of 7, and then when you single crocheted back through that chain, you ended up with a single crochet or a crochet count of 6 because you skipped that first chain. So that's why you should have 6 at the top and the bottom because you didn't change any of that. The only difference we would have is if you made your tentacle longer, only your sides would be different. It wouldn't be a 7, it might be something smaller or bigger. So that's the only difference we would have if you didn't make the same size I did. You should still have the top the same, just not the sides. So now going back down, I have to single crochet my 7. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then here's 7. And then we have to do our crochet count of 6 at the bottom. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then what we're going to do different is, remember how I said you should make all of your yellow pieces first? It's because with the pink you're going to crochet that together, so it's kind of easier if you just do the pinks one by one since you have to cut it off at the end later anyways. So what we're going to do is attach these together, and what you're going to do is just match them up. You can honestly match it up at any way you want, but you know this is my bottom piece, so I'll just match it up on that side, and you can tell it's your bottom piece because you have that excess yarn. This excess yarn at the top right here is from the chain, this one is from when you cut it off. So now what I'm going to do is single crochet these together. So I'm just going to line it up so the stitches match, and you can see this stitch matches with this one on the yellow side. What I'm going to do is take my crochet hook, insert it into that stitch, and insert it straight across to the yellow one, and we're just doing a single crochet. So you're just single crocheting this close, and then we're going to flip it. So I'll show that again into this stitch of the pink and then to the yellow. And I'll show that one more time slowly into this pink, to the yellow. Make sure you go through the whole thing. Grab your pink yarn or whatever color you're using. 2 loops on the hook, yarning over, pulling through both. This is a single crochet. And you just want to do that all the way until you get back to this side. You have to leave this top open so we can flip it. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep single crocheting this. And if you made sure you had the same stitch count on your 2 pieces, you should be fine and all your stitches should match up. So I'm just going to go ahead and single crochet this until I get back to the other side. Okay, so once I make it back to the top, you can see this is the opening. You're just basically stopping at the corners because you should have some room to flip this. So what you're going to do is just take your scissors, cut off the yarn, doesn't need to be too long. And what you're going to do is the same thing. You have this loop here, take the yarn and just pull it through that loop. And then now we're going to flip the piece. If you need your crochet hook, you can use it to push your yarn through. So I think I'm going to need it. Keep pausing the video because that black yarn, the fuzz from it, it keeps getting into my throat because I still feel like it's flying around. But just take your crochet hook and push it from the bottom, the tentacle from the bottom, and just push it straight through. And there you have a tentacle. Then you can just kind of shape it. We're going to stuff it later. You don't have to stuff it right now. And with this yarn, just push it. Oh my gosh. Sorry, it's still getting caught in my throat. But yeah, so just stuff it and stuff it with that yarn you just cut and just push it into the inside. And you just have to keep repeating that until you have 8. I only have 2 right now, so I'm going to go and finish the rest off camera and then I'll be right back. Alrighty guys, so I'm back with all of my finished tentacles. You can see them here. And now I'm going to show you how to attach them to our octopus. So let me go ahead and just take one of these for now. And if you remember from part 1, I said we're going to leave a piece of yarn on each color so we can sew it together. So that's what I have here. What I'm going to do is take the pink one first, and this is how we're going to sew it. So you're going to sew with this pink yarn, you're going to sew it to this side, and then with the yellow side, you're going to, after you're done with sewing all of the pink, we're going to move on to the yellow, and then we're going to attach it that way. So what you're going to need to do is take your threading needle and just insert your yarn. We're working on the bigger piece first, and because, so we have 8 tentacles, right? We have 6 stitches running across the top. That means, sorry, I was waiting for the airplane to fly by, but what I was saying is that we have 6 stitches running across the top and we have 8 of them. And remember, in this last round, we left off with a stitch count of 48, which means each of these stitches should have 1 corresponding to it on the bottom of this. So basically all of these stitches will be connected. So, it will be pretty easy to count because you're just going to go into each one of the stitches. And the way that I do that is, okay, so I'm going to take my pink and I'm going to go straight into the last stitch right here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm just going to go in from one of these. So this last stitch there, and I'm going to go into a stitch to the head of this guy. So I'm just going to go in and pull it. And then I'm going to go into the next stitch. So I just went into the first one. Now I'm going to go into the second stitch, which is this one right here. And then I'm just going to go into the head and push it into that stitch. So it's just a 1-to-1. And then you're going into the third one. So you can see here's my third stitch. Going into the third stitch on the body. And that's basically what you're going to do throughout the whole thing. So I'll just show you this one whole piece and the second one as well. So let's go into this. Sorry, I meant this stitch right here. Into this. So that's 4. This one is 5. And then here is the last one at this corner. And then going back into the top piece. So that is how you attach one of these. And then after we attach one, you can add a little bit of stuffing if you like to do that right now, but I think I'm going to do that after I attach all of the pink sides. So I'm going to demonstrate this one more time before I go off camera, but now let's grab another one of the tentacles and you're just going to do the same thing. This is where I left off, so I'm going to go insert it into the pink side, and this is the way that I'm holding it, so it's going to be placed like this. So you're just going to attach it straight to match pink with pink, and I'm going to go into this stitch right here, and then you're going to go into the next stitch and just place it there and pull straight out. So this is the second tentacle that we are attaching. So yeah, it's literally the same thing, just now go take your stitch marker and go into your next stitch and keep repeating it until you have all of them attached. So let me just go ahead and finish this. I'll show the rest of this on camera, but it's just sewing from the pink tentacle to the bottom. And then this is how it turns out on that part. I think the seam looks, it's pretty nice. Originally when I first did it, I tried to single crochet it, but I thought that it looked a little bit weird. So that's why I started sewing it for the second one. Okay, so now let's go into your next stitch and then go straight into the bottom. And then here's our next one. And then back to the top. And then here is my last one. And then back to the top. So I'm going to finish the rest of this off camera and then I'll be right back. Alrighty guys, so I just finished going around with my pink yarn and this is what it looks like. You can see everything is attached. And basically we're going to do the same thing with the yellow yarn, but first let's take this. Okay, so this is where I ended off, and what you can do here is just go into the stitch right after and just go through it and just pull your yarn through. And what you can do is secure it to the inside. So once we go in here, we're going to insert our needle through a stitch, just anyone close by, and you're going to pull through, but don't pull all the way. Just make sure you have a little loop left. And then I'm just going to remove my needle. And what we can do here is just take this yarn and put it through the loop. That's just how we secure it. And then I'm going to take this yarn and I'm going to insert it inside the octopus. Just use it as some extra cushion in there. And then what we can do now is also stuff the tentacle. If you don't want to, you don't have to, because I know this is kind of tiny if you made the same size I did. But I will just insert a little bit because I do kind of want it to puff up. So I'll just be right back after I insert some of this stuffing. Also, I'll just show you. I'm going to take about probably like this much, half of this. Just put it in there and see how it looks first. Actually, no, I'm going to do the whole thing. Yeah, I don't have it, I don't insert too much, just a little bit of puff in there. So I'll be back after I stuff each one of these. Okay, so I went ahead and stuffed all of the tentacles. Now we're going to move on to the yellow. So let's take our, or whatever color you're using. Let's go ahead and insert your yarn through your needle. And then we're going to sew this guy up the same way. So you can see this yarn right here, it doesn't reach the end. It's okay because you should still end up with the same number of stitches. So what I'm going to do is just start from the middle, go into this one here, and then just push it out into the following stitch. Oops, that's not the following. Wait, is that the following? Yeah, that's the following stitch. So just going to do the same thing to close this guy up. So I'm going to go from this side, insert it into the next stitch. That's what it looks like, and pull straight through. Insert it into the next stitch. Do the same thing as the pink. So I'm just going to show this until I get to the second tentacle, and then I'll finish the rest off camera because it's just a repeat. Okay, so going into the next tentacle, gonna go into that corner, then go back out to the front, out to the bottom of this one, and just pulling straight through. See, that's how it looks. Okay, so when you open it like this, you can kind of see it opening on the inside right here, but that doesn't bother me. If you wanted, you can go ahead and sew the two pieces together, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it as is. It's the same thing as my purple one. So this guy right here, you can see if I open it like this, it does open just a bit, but I didn't sew it or anything, and none of the stuffing falls out on mine at least. But yeah, if you want to close it up, go ahead and sew the middle as well. You just have to do the same thing, just attach it to both of the stitches and just pull through. But I didn't want the color to show through, that's why I didn't do that, but feel free to close it up if you like. And my yarn is getting tangled. Okay, but yeah, I'm just gonna keep repeating this, going from one stitch of the tentacle, if I can get through, and then out to the top part. And I'll just keep repeating this until everything is fully closed, and then we will be done. So I'll finish the rest of this off camera and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I'm almost done with the yellow, and I'm back just to show you how I finish it off. So remember, I was at the halfway point over here. I want to move this yarn to this corner piece so I can stuff it in. So what I'm going to do is, where I just left off, I'm going to insert my yarn through and poke it into this area over here, so where it's opened. Remember, I did say you can sew that part up if you wanted to, but I didn't. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this needle and push it through the yellow stitch, because I want to match the same color, and I'm going to poke it through, but I'm not going to pull all the way, just enough until I have that loop that's on my thumb. And I'm going to take the needle again and insert it into the loop, tighten that up, and then I'll just push this yarn, let me get my scissors, push this yarn back inside so I can use it as extra stuffing. Alright, and there you have it. That is our reversible octopus. So let me go ahead and show you the other side. So I'm just going to push this out, and all of a sudden I'm happy. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. I'm really satisfied with it, because when I was working on my first one and second one, I wasn't sure if I wanted to finish this project because I was having trouble with the tentacles, but it's so cute and I just love it so much. So that's basically the end of this video. You can go ahead and add some more stuff. I kind of wanted to add a bow, but then I was like, oh no, let me just leave it alone. But I think it looks so cute. So yeah, that's basically the end. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one.